What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Dead by Daylight. I will be teaching you everything there is to know when playing the game for the first time. In this video, I will be going over what the game is, the objective of the game, and what are all of the selections in the main menu, along with what they do. Dead by Daylight is a 4v1 game where you can take the role of either the killer that hunts the survivors or a survivor that escapes the killer. The killer plays in a first-person perspective that hunts the 4 survivors, while being able to use heightened senses, a deadly weapon, and a unique power that helps them locate, injure, catch, and hook survivors. The survivors are a 4-man team, which can choose to work as a team or look out for themselves to escape. The survivors are played in third-person perspective and doesn't have any heightened senses naturally, like the killer does. While the killer has a more individual advantage when going against one survivor, the survivors can use the map itself to either escape, stop, or even hide from the killer from attacking them if used correctly. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and start talking about the objective of the game. The killer's objective is to find and catch survivors in order to hang them on sacrificial hooks to be consumed by the entity. The entity is a being that created the realm of trials, meaning every match you play, in which the killer and survivors are trapped in according to the lore of the game. The survivor's objective is to escape the trial by any means necessary. They must first find and repair 5 generators. Once repaired, the generator can power 2 exit gates on the map. Each gate has a switch that must be held down for a short amount of time before that gate will open so the survivors can escape. A final phase of the trial will be triggered called the in-game collapse. The in-game collapse can be triggered by the exit gates opening, which survivors and the killer can do, or even the hatch being closed, which spawns when there's only 1 survivor left in the trial and the killer finds it before the survivor does. During the in-game collapse, the killer now has an added objective of keeping survivors in the trial until the timer expires. The timer is 3 minutes long, which can slow down if a survivor is put into a dying state or placed on a hook. Any survivor that hasn't escaped before the in-game collapse is ended will be consumed by the entity and result in death. As far as trials go, the location of the trials are chosen by the entity. Players can influence the entity's choice by burning certain offerings. Trial locations have certain fixed map structures, but the entity has control over where the players, generators, totems, and exit gates will spawn. The map itself shifts from trial to trial, so it's unpredictable on what you'll end up playing on. Generally, you'll start to see the news pop up before you start playing, just to inform you on the latest things around Dead by Daylight with developers' posts and even patch notes. After that, you'll see the daily rituals. Daily rituals are challenges for you to complete with your available survivors or killers. 1 new daily challenge is generated every day while having up to a maximum of 3 active at the same time. Players are able to remove just 1 daily ritual per day, which gets placed immediately with the new one. Looking at the first selection in the game menu, you'll notice that you'll have Getting Started tab. Getting Started is a hands-on guide and tutorial to help you understand the basics and more. In the first page, you have Survivor and Killer tutorials, which if completed you'll receive blood points to help level your character up, along with the charm for your customization. The second page is the game manual, which teaches you the game, the survivors, the killers, but pretty much already sums up what I've already stated before. In the second menu selection, you have the archives. The archives is where you would complete challenges, unlock rewards in the Rift, and uncover secrets of the Fog. The first page is the current tome. The tome itself has challenges on them, and if you complete the challenge you will be rewarded with Rift points, charms, blood points, and or entry for the collection. Going deeper in that, the collection is diaries of the characters in the game. The tome has 4 tiers of pages that are more difficult for each higher tier you get to. The higher the tier, the higher reward. The second page of the Rift is pretty much a battle pass of the current season, which shows you when the season ends. If you spend 1000 Oryx cells, you can level up the Rift to unlock rewards like charms, customization for survivors and killers, and even get back the Oryx cells, which totals back to 1000 like you spent. In order to level up the Rift, you must gain 10 Rift Fragments to level up one tier out of 70 tiers total. Rift Fragments are gained by collecting XP and completing archive challenges. And last, you have the third page of the archive, which is the Compendium. The Compendium is made up of past tomes that you can play to earn rewards, like from the first page, except you don't get any Rift Fragments. Now, I do want to talk about some of the game's currencies that you heard me mention, so you're not confused on what exactly I'm talking about. There are 3 types of currency in the game. The first one being Oryx cells, which are your store and archive currency to purchase characters and customization. They can only be acquired through the purchase in the in-game store or earned as rewards in the archive rift. There's no limit at how much you can have of the Oryx cells. The second one is iridescent shards, which is the overall progression currency used to purchase teachable perks, characters, and customization items in the store. It can be only acquired by gaining XP or increasing your player's level. They are also not capped. And then last is blood points, which is your character's progression currency. They are used to upgrade the characters you own by making purchases in the blood web. Most in-game action trigger score events that are converted into blood points at the end of the match. Certain offerings, perks, and events may modify the amount of blood points you receive. They are capped at 1 million blood points. Alright, so as far as looking at the characters, there are 2 roles to play with its multiple characters to choose from. Each killer has their own strength and weaknesses and unique power, whereas survivors vary only in their appearance. However, every killer and survivor has 3 unique perks to unlock in the blood web, which can be taught to other survivors. Not only that, but if you look beside the currencies, you'll notice these icons. This is your player's level, which represents the overall progression from all the characters that you play with, killer or survivor. Once every 100 levels, you will reach a new devotion, which is shown to you through a number under your current level. This is your player's grade, which depending on which role you are playing, there will be a grade shared through all the characters for that role. There are 5 different types of grades to show how you've been performing that month. You have Ash, Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Iridescent. In order to move to different grades, you will have to pip enough to reach the next rank of the grade. There are 4 ranks of 1 grade, ranking 4 through 1, and then the next color grid. Pips can be gained or lost depending on the performance the player did from the trial after the match. You can only move to higher grades, never back grades, or ranks on the grades. Also, at the 13th of every month, there is a grade reset that rewards you depending on your grade from that time frame in the month. The third mini selection is Play as a Survivor. This box is Different Survivors, which originally starts you off with the 4 survivors the game comes with, which should be Dwight, Meg, Claudette, and Jake. This box is a loadout selection which you can only have items. Items are unlockables that are unlocked either through the blood web or picked up from in-game plays like through a chest or you retrieved from the floor. Each item has a color for its uniqueness, ranges from weakest to strongest. Usually it goes brown, yellow, green, purple, and pink. There are also event or special types of items, like more yellow items but with a different background drop to show the event that it came from. And there are special types that are craftable items, which are red and black striped that you see in-game, but they cannot be retrieved from the in-game to keep. Flashlights, keys, maps, medkits, toolbox are all items that are affected by the rarity of the game. Craftable items are flashbangs so far, There are mid-trial limited times items like the vaccine or the Lamb configuration, but like I said, you would only see those in in-game. In this box beside items are add-ons, which are many items to add on or boost the item you have selected for the survivor. They can only be used once, and after the game is over, you lose that one single add-on that you can purchase more of though. You can use 2 add-ons, but they cannot be exact same colored add-on. The rarity of the add-ons are the same like the items, so you have, the range of brown, yellow, green, purple, and pink. This far right box is called offerings, which they are power/color range as the others have been. These offerings are brought to the entity to persuade how the map can be shaped, or even grant special ability or rewards the player or killers can have. Like add-ons, they are lost after the use for the game. Lore-wise, it starts at the beginning of the campfire, which the offerings are burnt to the entity, which is displayed before the match starts. Now there can be offerings that can conflict with each other, which can cancel said offerings. Depending on the type and effects of the offerings, they all should exhibit 3 interactions on the screen. No flip, it's a secret offering only the person who burnt the offering can see. The offering shakes, which means someone else has the same offering and it'll stack with your offering, make its effect larger. They will be beside each other when flipped. The offering bounces off the screen means that someone has an offering that would cancel yours, but of different rarity. The better the rarity will be burnt, while the other is sent back to the owner. And if they are both the same rarity of the same offer, then they both will be sent back to the owners. Side note, if a player disconnects during the loading or the first minute of the game, then all offerings are returned to the players. There are different types of effects to all of the offerings. Like for one, there's offerings that affect all your categories after the match is ended. It's usually consistent of altruism, boldness, objective, and survival for the survivor, which you can use an offering for yourself or the team. Same thing for an offering for luck. There are event-based offerings which are used in the past for like the Halloween event that just went by. There are offerings for the basement locations, numbers of chests, thickness of fog, hatch spawn location, distance between hook spawns, and even the realm, like I said, meaning the map you play on. There are also spawn locations of survivors and wards, which sacrificial wards reject any realm offerings. White ward prevents the item and add-on from being lost after the game. Underneath that, you have perks, which are special abilities for the survivor. Each survivor comes with 3 unique perks which, as the name implies, are unique to them and will only spawn in their own blood web. Each perk has a tier of 1 through 3, which is identifiable by the tally marks at the top right of the perk icon. The higher the tier, the higher the rate and efficiency of that perk is compared to the lower tier perk. Now that there are only 3 tiers, the rarity of the perk is different compared to the items and add-ons and offerings. Tier 1 is yellow, Tier 2 is green, Tier 3 is purple. There's also an orange perk, which is considered as a teachable perk. In order for other survivors to play with another survivor's teachable perk, the survivor that owns that unique perk must obtain the teachable perk in their blood web for others to use it. Teachable perks is when the survivor has reached level 30, 35, and 40 in their specific survivor's blood web, or they have also bought the teachable perk from the Shrine of Secrets section. You can also view the order of the teachable perks by clicking this button, which will show the perks with either blank or a check by it to show if you have it unlocked for others. The survivor starts off with 1 slot of 4 unlockable slot openings. The second slot will be open once the survivor has reached level 5. The third is on level 10 and the fourth on level 15. Alright, and this is the blood web, which is where you would spend your blood points on icons ranging from add-ons, perks, teachable perks, offerings, and a mystery box. which is just random of anything above except teachable perks. Each character has their own process of leveling, so if you only leveled Dwight up, then don't expect some levels would have gone to another character like Meg, for example. Once you have reached level 50, you will have the option to prestige, which will reset everything like perks, items, add-ons, and offerings. What you gain from prestiging is a new level with a prestige 1 tally mark behind your level that indicates you have prestige once out of 3 times. For each time you prestige, you gain 1 item of clothing for your survivor that is bloody. Usually pants first, but I think I've had it shirt first. I think I'm on Dwight. But you would either get your pants, shirt, I think is usually second, and the head is last for third. The next tab underneath that would be customization. For each survivor, you have an outfit tab, which is pre-selected outfits that show what clothes goes with what. You can mix and match if you would like to, though unless it's like a skin for an entire new person, like how Steve had Jonathan, you won't be able to actually change the head or the upper body, lower body, because they are unchangeable since they are one whole skin. The customization has everything you can unlock from the new Rift available, things you have unlocked from buying in the store, special events going on, and last locker codes. Alright, and the last thing on survivors are charms, which goes on to the survivor you have selected that you can unlock through Dead by Daylight codes, rifts, or tomes. The next menu selection is play as a killer. First box is different killers, which the game has the 3 original killers you start off with, which are the Trapper, the Wraith, the Hillbilly, which are the 3 original killers for the game. Underneath that you have the loadout box, which is similar to the loadout for the survivors, except instead of items they have their own unchangeable unique power. Add-ons are the same, with it ranging from its rarity and boosting the killer's power. There are different types of offering effects for killers than survivors, like the killer's categories, which are brutality, viciousness, hunter, sacrifice. Just like survivor, they can be used for yourself or on survivors too. And then you have memento mori, ward, which the black ward prevents the add-ons from your item being lost after the game, similar like the white ward for a survivor. Perks is set up exactly the same as survivors, so we're not going to go through much of that. Also, if viewing from the killer's selection, you can also press this button that will not only pull up their backstory but also show attributes for them, like how fast they are, the length of their terror radius, and their size. Underneath that, the blood web, exactly the same as survivors, the unique kind of perks. Underneath that, customization, like I said, same as survivors, except the charms actually go onto the hook instead of the character. This is the custom games tab, which is an invite only mode where you and your friends would take on the roles of survivors or killer or maybe even spectator. Match roles and loadouts can be customized. You can only start the game if there is 1 survivor and 1 killer ready. The loadouts have every perk, items, add-ons, and offerings unlocked for your unlocked characters. So if you're interested in learning about each thing, this would be how you would want to spend your time learning and reading about them. I do want to say playing custom games does not reward you blood points though. In case you were thinking about just playing custom games, you do have to still play online in order to get blood points to level up your character. And the last main menu selection is the store. Page 1 is the feature page and has the new and available skins for either survivors or killers, with the outfits the devs wanted to showcase along with the most recent DLC underneath. Top right of the page is where you can enter codes that you can get through Dead by Daylight social media or even the news page itself. You can also purchase Auric cells there. Page 2 has every character that you have unlocked or can be purchased and their buyable customizations with the Auric cells or iridescent shards. You can view how much each thing costs. You can also view their story if you're interested in the lore on how they arrived in the trials. There are also 4 tabs that are separated by outfits. Survivors has the head, upper half, lower. The killers have upper half, lower half, and weapon. There are rarity of clothes, which ranges from whitish, silverish to purple, green, yellow, and brown, which all cost different amounts. Page 3 is Oryx Sale Packs, which has pricing on how much a certain amount of Oryx sales cost. Page 4 is the Shrine of Secrets, which consists of 4 perks, 2 from random survivors and the other 2 are from random killers. Each perk costs 2,000 iridescent shards unless there is a special event going down, which that would modify the cost to be less. If you didn't want any of the perks that week because you already own them and or they don't seem good, you can trade any learned perks for 150,000 blood points in exchange for 2,000 iridescent shards instead. Looking at the tab selection at the bottom, you can see the daily rituals if you forgot what they were. That tab is for friends, which you are able to see who's on your friends list and send them game invites to your lobby to play Survivor or even custom games. You're able to see requests to either accept or decline them. You're able to add new friends by adding their unique username with the code located at this top left of the screen. If you click on this options tab, you'll notice at the top there is a general tab which has the enabling and disabling of beginner mode, crossplay, auto decline friend requests, party privacy. Another tab, you have the graphics tab for controllable options of the HUD, maybe the colorblind mode. There's also an audio tab that has the options to set the main volume or the menu music, or even set your headphones up. Up there beside it is the control tab, which you have the options to set controls for the common, survivors, or killer controls. Next one is the input binding, which has the option to set which button you would like to use certain ones for, like for movement or interactions, even your camera and gestures. And the last tab is the support tab, so you can contact customer support or the forums. There's also a support tab, so you don't have to go through the options every time. Let's say you did want to contact customer support or anything like that. Beside that, you also have the news tab, just in case you forgot to read through it when it originally popped up on the screen. And finally, you have the credits tab, which shows the collection of people who made this great game. Alright, so thank y'all so much for watching this video, and hopefully you've gained something that I was able to enlighten on you. I'm definitely going to be doing some more guides on exactly how to play the game. I know in this one it didn't teach you too much about playing, but I just wanted to make sure that you know how to get through the menu first, get your settings right, know exactly what you're heading for before I break down a little bit about how to actually play the game. But be on the lookout for that. It's definitely about to come out soon, so thank you so much for watching. Subscribe.